Good, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday night version of Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. And I am glad to be seeing everyone on the show here tonight. And thank you for joining me. And it's good to be back in Rockdale County. I've was on a little bit of a work trip to Las Vegas this past week, and I had a good trade show that I attended. It was good to see. And then Cheryl Moulton, I see you're making fun of our good friend Justin Kenny for getting to the show early tonight. So let's go ahead and start out tonight by saying hello to some friends if they've joined the show. Excuse me. Mary Boysworth, thanks for joining the show. We got Justin Kenny, fellow Board of Education member. We've got Michelle Freeman. We've got Cheryl Moulton, Clayton Orwick. We've got Charlotte Gellert, Luca Russo, William Campbell, Dan Burks, Marie Withers. Thank you guys for all joining the show tonight. And it is great to have each and every one of you on the show tonight because without you, there would be no need to have a show. So, we have a loyal listening audience that tunes in every Sunday to hear me spout a whole bunch of nonsense that makes sense to me and you and a few. And we welcome any guests are coming on for the first time. Say hello in the chat, and that way we can say hello to you. Nice to have people coming. Voices for Rockdale, Miss Corliss Turner. Thank you for joining the show tonight. We always appreciate when the Voices for Rockdale enter the room, and we appreciate everything that the Voices group does on behalf of Rockdale County. Miss Danielle Munez joining us from way up north. That's great to have Danielle here. Great fan of the show, great friend of the show, and great friend of mine. So great to have everyone joining us tonight. So first of all, I want to just say, you guys battled the frigid winter temperatures and precipitation again this week while I was gone out west, and I think we all fared it well. My family was all here. I was the only one to go on the trip. See, Danielle even says, "Wait, Justin's here already." So Justin, you're catching it from all sides tonight, right? So I mean, that's just your reputation, your reputation precedes itself. That's all I know about that. So, but yeah, that weather, we've had 2 weeks of bad weather here in Rockdale County and in this area, and we don't often get that here, and we got a few weeks of it, and hopefully that's the last bout. George Kelichek, welcome to the show. Let's just let you all know, hey, George and I will be going down to the state capitol together this week. Alex, welcome to the show. We're going to go meet with a few legislators. I have a meeting with Senator Greg Dozal regarding a Senate Bill 4, which is to clarify some misunderstandings about the Board of Education's responsibilities versus the responsibilities of the chairman, and who responds to who, or who answers to who, and all that stuff. So it's going to be an interesting piece of legislation. Very interested in talking to Senator Dozal. No, I did not go to Vegas to see the Eagles farewell tour. That's something I did not do. Steve Mayo, thanks for joining the show tonight. But no, I sure did not go there. I went out there for the World of Concrete. It's a concrete show I go to every year. Good place to go and talk to industry leaders and other people that work in my line of business, away from the hustle and bustle of business. And it's a good opportunity to meet and discuss some things moving forward this coming year. So that's what we do. But yeah, family were here, and they were all, prepared for it as I left. And everything. So it was nice to have the family prepared for the inclement weather. And I'm glad to see all my friends fared through this ordeal rather well, and that's good to hear. I just want to talk a little bit about House Bill 581. So I've been reading a lot of articles and been seeing a lot of things out there about different legislators and what they've been saying, and it's very clear from reading the things that I have read from legislators who were involved in this on the Senate and House side. It was never intended for this mass exodus that is apparently occurring to occur. They had put the opt out for small counties, very small population, these counties under 20,000 people and such. But these large metropolitan counties are taking advantage and opting out. Now, what is the advantage of these large counties opting out? I'm going to tell you my exact opinion about this, right? So, my opinion, and I think my opinion is based on some observation that I think you and I, as taxpayers, have all observed. Good evening, Lee Wright. So, when they have the millage rate hearings every year, and Alex, you and I have mentioned this several times about this gaslighting. You'll hear these different entities saying this, that we're not the ones doing this to you. It's the tax assessor, because they're the ones that raised your property values. We're not raising your taxes. It's your property tax values. It's all about your property values. If your property values wouldn't be going up, then we wouldn't be raising your taxes, because we're leaving your millage rate alone. Sometimes we even lower your millage rate. But, and your reason you're paying more is because your property is worth more. So 581, just listen to me a second. 581 takes that whole gaslighting argument away, right? They will no longer be able to raise your taxes by that 10, 15, 20%, even sometimes if they leave the millage rate at the same number that they were the last year. Now, with 581, they would only be allowed to raise those home values on homestead properties at the rate of inflation. So, that would be around 3% this year, right? So, listen, guys, they are absolutely gaslighting you. And this opting out actually proves to you that it's beyond gaslighting. It is absolutely lying. Each entity that stands before you every year and tells you it's not us, it's the assessor, we've got nothing to do with it. They are absolutely just flat out lying to you, because my dog's going crazy. I think my wife's coming home. Went to go pick up her granddaughter. But Molly Lou, so what they know that the millage rate is merely a multiplier, and they can raise or lower your taxes with that multiplier based on the value of your home by setting that millage rate, which is nothing more than a multiplier. So, guys, it is absolutely ridiculous now that they're saying, they want to opt out, right? Opt out and keep the system the way it is, because they will lose revenue. I mean, nobody's going to lose anything. Let me tell you what this is. This is unrecognized tax increases. And that's what that's what it is. They can say whatever they want. It is unrecognized tax increases. It is not lost revenue, because it is excessive amount of taxing that they can't do if they're capped at your properties increasing only at 3% or 2% or whatever the rate of inflation is. They are absolutely lying to you. So you have a right as citizens to be upset as hell about this. And I'm going to tell you what, as a voter, anyone who supports opting out will not get my vote ever again as an elected official running for anything. Running for anything. They will never get my support or vote ever again, because they are purposely gaslighting and just flat out lying to you about this whole situation. As taxpayers and voters, we cannot tolerate or stand for this blatant abuse of power any longer. That's exactly what this is. It is an abuse of power. And as voters, if you continue to send back individuals who did not listen to you when you voted at the ballot box, that you wanted this piece of legislation, you wanted this tax relief, and they are not able to do what you say, they do not deserve your vote moving forward. That's my thank you, Clayton Orwig. And Clayton is a man of facts, knowledge, and intelligence. So, and thank you, Clayton, for acknowledging it. It is for tax increases on budgets that haven't even been set or established yet. You hear that? It is tax increases for budgets that haven't even been set yet. And it is tax increase. It is potential income of monies that have yet to be taxed. Because let's just say you set the millage rate lower, then you potentially aren't raising that money. You are point blank showing your hand. If you're an entity that is planning on opting out and you say you plan on losing this much money, then fellas, taxpayers, let me tell you what they're planning on doing. They're planning on sticking you with the largest tax bills you've ever seen in your life. Are you going to tolerate and put up with this? Senator Hostetler is trying to introduce legislation to remove the opt-out option. I don't think that's going to pass before the March 1st deadline, but he can retroact things and make it happen that, that it put it back to if entities opt out, that the citizens you'll go back to vote for it again. I'm just telling you, this legislature is not done with this issue. Anybody who thinks that opting out's the solution, you better think again. This legislative body did not introduce and pass this legislation to have local governments opt out and undo the tax relief that you voted for yourself. You voted for yourself to get tax relief, and they did. Now, one thing that I don't think is fair, and I'm going to talk about this, and I plan on talking to some legislators about this week. When they didn't allow the Board of Education to be included in that 1 cent tax, that was wrong, because you gave the counties and the municipalities a way to make up for some revenue that otherwise they were going to tax you, but you did not include the Board of Education. Come on, guys. You guys want to talk about alternative funding of education. You can't keep putting that burden on taxpayers, including the Board of Education's in that. Floss would have been a great example of working together to help put additional funds into the educational coffers. And it's ridiculous. And Marie Withers said, we're about and ready to find out if the BOC is going to continue with backing the builders or their constituents. Yeah, I watched that zoning hearing this week too. It was very interesting too. But, guys, I like to hear what you guys have to say about, what I just talked about the 581, future taxes, potential revenue. None of that is set in stone. I'll give you an example. Like the other day, I think at a meeting before I came on the board, and board member Kenny said something about, the legislatures may introduce legislation to roll the millage rate back, and instead of being 30, be 20 in Rockdale if we opted out or whatever. And the superintendent came back at board member Kenny and said that was a hypothetical situation. Well, you know what? Isn't that the same thing that they're throwing out with all these losses and whatever? Aren't those hypothetical gains? Isn't that hypothetical potential revenue? If you throw the hypothetical thing out one way, it's got to be fair game the other way, right? So that's not real income or actually recognized income. It's hypothetical income. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So if you're going to use that kind of argument, then the same argument can be used against you. That's not actual recognized income. It's hypothetical income based on hypothetical tax rates. So unless they're just not hypothetical because they already have it planned for the next 5 years, how hard they're going to tax you. I mean, those are your options. It's either making it up or it's what they plan on doing. So, I mean, what is it? It's either making it up or what they're planning on doing. I mean, if I were you taxpayers, I would go to the next meetings and just, until March 1st, until this thing is done, I'd go to every meeting and tell them everything. City, county, BOE, we're watching you. If you opt out, you're out. Just be honest with people, right? I mean, I'm not going to lie. Any of my fellow board members would ask me, like I said, if does my opinion on this impact? Would you support me in the future? And I'm going to tell you, yes, it does. If anyone who thinks that they want to opt out, I will not be supporting them next election goes around because I can't support them. Justin, are you telling me that we can't expect 20% real estate appreciation every year into the? Yeah, exactly. That's what we're saying. We're being told that we can expect 20% increase every year for the rest of your life. 20%. So let's just think you got three silos in Rockdale County. What if they all decide to hit you with that 20% and that what they can do? Dude, we average 30-some% across the board if you live, in rural Rockdale right now. If you live in the city, it goes up 40-some% a lot of times what your tax property bill goes up when you include all three silos. I mean, it's not out of the realm if you live in the city to get a 60% increase in a year. Not out of the realm if you live in rural Rockdale to get a 40-some%. Thank you, Alex. And I've seen that, right? I've seen it, and I've gotten emails and I've got phone calls. I actually got some phone calls from some people telling me that they were being pressured by elected officials to put pressure on elected officials who don't want to opt out. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I've got phone calls from individuals who have had phone calls from other elected officials to attempt to put pressure on people like me to opt out. Don't feel no pressure. Not doing it. I just counter with, I know who you were and I know who you called, and I won't be voting for you the next time your name's on the ballot. And that's as simple as that. I mean, and I'm not throwing names and I'm not throwing whatever. And they know who they are, right? They know who they are that they called and tried to pressure people. And those people called. They know who they are. So come on, man. I mean, let's get real. It's time. It's time that the elected officials in this county grow a backbone and start doing their job, and quit hiding behind nonsense and bureaucracy. Quit hiding behind bureaucrats, and do the right thing. You've got Steve Mayo. I'll leave the county if this keeps up. Guys, I'm just telling you, had enough. You guys had enough. I have personally, as a taxpayer and citizen of this county, had enough, right? What made me run for office, right? I had enough on several different levels. Decided to run for office because I want to make a difference. So can't make a difference if you go along with the status quo. So Clayton, I'm gonna put Clayton's comment up there. Great comment, Clayton. And apparently, the cost of running our second smallest county will increase 20% annually. I just fail to see the direct correlation between the county's budget and the housing prices. Thank you, Clayton Orwick. Michelle Freeman, 40 years in Rockdale, it's time to start giving back to the residents. So I'm just telling you right now, enough's enough. You guys have said enough's enough with the way you voted at the ballot box this past year. You said enough was enough, and I'll just tell you, the majority. I mean, the other night we had some students speak, and I'm all for students speaking, but you go to the real numbers. 80% of the people who spoke that night spoke for staying in 581. 80% of those eligible to vote. You throw the other ones in, it was 66%. But when you say just those who are eligible voters, 80% that spoke. And then I believe people who are speaking to opting in. I had one person call me the other day and said he was getting pressure, to have conversations, but he asked the people who were called him, but give him the data, give him the information, give him data as to why. And they said, well, you can go look it up. You got people telling him that he's got to do this because because myself and a few other elected officials in this county, they're accusing of going to ruin the county. And they can't even back up their accusations with any data, and told this individual to go look it up themselves. Independent individual called me a very respected businessman in this community, right? They couldn't even give him the data, which he told me, he says, I'm not for that. I'm for what we're doing. I'm letting you know they're out there doing this. And I appreciated the warning. So Alex, they're terrified they may have to lay off some bureaucrats from the jobs program scam. Alex, that's from your keyboard to my screen, right? From your keyboard to my screen. Mr. Kelichek sent me an email today about I think it was a county in Virginia where some Board of Education members actually do a podcast to inform people of what's going on. And I think Mr. Kelichek said, that he thinks that's why people like my podcast, because they get a different angle of what's going on in the county when they hear this podcast. And he actually mentioned my town hall listening meetings that people were excited about those kind of things happening, where they can come out, speak their mind, be heard, and be taken seriously. And that's interesting, right? Kelly got a comment I want to read. Positions are set by budgets, not the other way around. Students don't pay taxes. The pressure should be on the superintendent to utilize the current budget to make it great. Thank you, Kelly, for your comments. So, when I get the feedback from you guys, right? Kelly, Mr. Orwig, George, Alex, just all you people, Mary Boysworth, Voices for Rockdale. As I look through your, Cheryl Moulton, you always make valid comments. Marie Withers makes comments, all of you guys. And, Bill Campbell, Bill Campbell is always a good, steady, reliable individual, doesn't get emotional about things, very factual, analytical. So, Miss Russo, you're always there listening to things. Miss Gellert, always there finding out information. Cheryl and Ben Garcia, stalwarts in the community that are always there listening, finding information, digging to the root of the issues. When you've got people that care so much about this community, and they just don't show up every now and then, or when people who have unrealistic ideas or expectations get some of their friends to come out and promote something occasionally, or fight, or promote bad things. and give misinformation. Um, it's great to have people who look at things from an analytical manner. And is this really good for the county or really bad for the county? Right. My friend Alex McDonald is one of the biggest, well, that's what the data says. It's what the numbers say. It's right in front of you kind of guy. Cheryl Garcia, the exact same way. George Kellichek, Bill Campbell. I've mentioned these guys, right? So when you've got these individuals who look at this stuff in this analytical manner, I myself look at stuff analytical. Mr. Kenny, I know, looks at stuff analytical. And when we have a certain opinion about something and it differs from others, and we get the emotional argument from others, and then when they do try to show data, it's make-believe data. It's like they went to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood and took a little trip to make-believe land, right? The planet Pluto, right? Or whatever that planet was. I think it was the planet Pluto or something. But they used to, you go to make-believe land, right? And that's where I believe they come from a lot of time. They come from make-believe land. But they don't even deal with reality. They don't even deal with reality. George, I want to put that up there, right? So a little light on the evening. We will all be in the principal's office for sharing the truth with correct data. Thank you, Mr. Kellichek. You are 100% correct. That truth thing, that data thing, that correct thing, that talking about what people really want, not what. Well, this is what people. What people are you talking to that tell you they want you to raise their taxes an ungodly amount forever? What senior citizens are you talking to that have gotten a $30 raise in their tax bill? You tell me, when they say a year or a month. Well, my taxes went up $133 a month last year. I talked to one of our state representatives. I'm not going to say their name because it's their business, right? But they did tell me their mortgage payment went up $500 this year because the escrow went up because of the tax increase that their property faced this year. $500 increase in their mortgage payment because their escrow went up $500 a month. You don't get a $500 increase in escrow over a $30 a month increase in your property taxes. That's make-believe land, and it's not actual data. And I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to acknowledge it as factual because it's not factual. It's make-believe. So if you guys want to keep electing people that are from Mr. Rogers' neighborhood and the land of make-believe, and you do that. I'm not going to. I'm not going to vote for Lady Elaine and the postman anymore, right? That are in make-believe land. And it's just not practical for us to do anymore. So guys, I'm telling you, stay steadfast. Stay steadfast in your opposition of being taken advantage of. Back in the 1700s, with this kind of taxation, they had a little thing called the Boston Tea Party, right? And you had a few people stand up to tyranny. I'm telling you right now, in Rockdale County, we have faced tyranny over the last 10 years. We have faced it. We have faced it. And we're trying to fight it because it's the right thing to do, folks. It's the right thing to do. We have to stand strong and stand together. We need to speak our minds, let our voices be heard. We need to let people know that we've had enough. You need to continue going to all the municipalities and the Board of Education meetings all throughout the metro area and the state of Georgia. You need to go let your voice be heard at all of these meetings and let them know you are watching and you are expecting change. You're not expecting the same old nonsense to be repeated over and over again. That you're tired of our government organizations being hijacked by bureaucratic lobbyist organizations like the ACCG, like GEMA, like the Georgia School Board Association. We are tired of these lobbyist organizations infiltrating and brainwashing our elected officials. And that's the reality. It's got to stop. And how does it stop? It stops with people like you and me who stand strong and say enough is enough. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind. Cast your ballots. Go to the meeting and let everyone see that you're there and you're watching. Let everyone know that you're there, you're watching, and you're taking names. Geneva Wood, I want to put your comment up there, right? Better Social Security raise didn't even cover groceries increased prices where seniors are going to get money to cover taxes, home insurance, or car insurance increases. You know, your Social Security increase didn't even cover the amount of your Medicare increase this year. So your Medicare portion went up higher than what your raise went up. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. So there's no way you got an increase. Just another fact. So government keeps raising, they keep raising the money. They tax you 20% a year, right? Do you get to raise your own salary? Do you get to increase your budget by going and telling your employer how much you're going to take from them? No, you don't. But that's exactly what happens with government. Government just say, well, we're going to spend this much and we're going to come take it from you. And they don't expect you to get angry about it or fight back about it, right? They don't expect you to get angry or fight back about it. So for us, the next Board of Education meetings are February the 13th and February the 20th. February 13th and February the 20th. The 13th and 20th. So guys, I'm telling you, together we can make a difference. We can change how this county operates. But it's going to take you and I and people being strong with conviction. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to stay strong with conviction, stay strong with the things that you've been doing the last couple of years in this county. If we continue to do that and your voices are heard, your votes are cast, you let everybody know what's going on, then we can make change. And the change is not made overnight. And it is slow sometimes. But you know what? Change will occur. But it's going to take you and me to make that change occur. So what I want to do right now is I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm going to thank you all for joining me tonight. I've been on here for going on 36 minutes, and I think that's long enough for this evening. I believe the message that I've sent tonight is strong. It's stern, it's honest, and it's sincere. I think people know where I stand, and I think they know where you stand. Tom, I did see that list, and I did see there were 2 schools in Rockdale County on it. So, but guys, remember, together, we can make anything happen. A small group of organized people with dedication can do a lot of things. That's how this country was founded, this great country of ours. Thank you, everybody. And I can't wait till next week for you to join me here live on this show where your voice matters and where freedom of speech still matters. And what we say can go out to the citizens of this county that they know that people do care and we do want to make a difference. Thank you. Good night. Remember, speak your mind and let your voice be heard. Thank you and good night.